Switch off vinyl mode to access the 3 jog effect. Now you can manually control the same filter. There's a low pass around to the left and a high pass around to the right. This is a really useful mixing tool. The whole button comes in handy, preventing the effects from reverting back to off. The jet effect is a phaser, which tries to sound like you're layering 2 tracks over each other in sync. Now the roll is the freshest sounding effect of them all, and it's the most fun as well. Grab any beat or sound by touching the platter at the right time. According to the BPM, it then repeats that grab sample 4 times every beat. Move the platter around and it pitches it up or down. Meanwhile, the track plays silently internally until you let go. So even while you are practicing to get the timing right, the beat will always come back in the right place. The final belter is the new rhythmic looping feature. As well as the usual in and out points, you can exit or re-loop instantly, and loops can be started as quickly as you can hammer the loop in button. Use the jog wheel to fix dodgy loop endings with the out trim, or the search buttons for finer frame by frame edits and builds. Now the fun starts with the rhythmic looping. The plus-minus buttons automatically grab 4-beat loops. It chops them up into 4 chunks and starts at the beginning of each slice. You can set the number of repeats using the plus or minus buttons, or hold them down for an instant fill, with quirky triplets too. It sounds great, and it's another signature effect from Pioneer.
The only feature I might like to take across from the CDJ 400 to the 1000 would be the rhythmic looping feature. Just because I know I could do a lot of amazing tricks with that in my sets, and I think it'd be a nice feature to have always with me when I'm playing around the world. One cool thing about the CDJ 400 that might go unnoticed is the fact that you can use 2 things at once. So if you're using the loop divide, and that can be quite dramatic if you use the, say, the wah filter at the same time and bring it down. It can give more a subtle effect.
The whole process relies on the BPM being read correctly, but it's not as solid as we'd like, and there's no tap tempo control. Most importantly, mixing with the CDJ is a real pleasure. The 100mm pitch fader is a bit cheaper than its bigger brothers, but still smooth and reliable.
The pitch control for me is smooth and fluid and controlled enough.
Pioneer saved a few bucks by stripping most of the lights from the unit, so you need to keep an eye on the screen for feedback. Here you'll see the pitch settings. You can set the range right up to 100%, which Pioneer calls wide. Incidentally, wide control only works with CD audio, not MP3s. This button locks the pitch of the music regardless of the speed, and the quality is on par with the CDJ 1000, so top marks here. You'll also find a progress bar instead of a waveform view, and it flashes near the end of the track. Pioneer certainly didn't cut back on the cost when it came to the jog wheel, because it lights up like a Christmas tree. It follows you scratching and shows the loops in action and the playback direction. The pattern can also be changed by going into the menu, and it looks best with the lights down low. That pretty much covers it for all the advanced features, but let's take a look at the basics. You can switch off vinyl mode and use the platter to change the pitch, and flip the reverse button to change the playback direction instantly. You can quick scan through tracks and folders using the search buttons and jog wheel together. Queuing in jog mode is standard issue. You get the usual stutter noise to find the downbeat with the jog wheel. Or refine it even more using the search buttons to move frame by frame. Finally, hit Q to set the point. You can now stutter this cue point like a sampler and play this into your mix. You can follow a performance by hitting the play button to launch into the track with Flare. Or you can use vinyl mode to manually drop the track into the mix, just like you would with a record.
When I'm mixing, I'm always using the vinyl mode. I always use it on, I guess that's from me. Coming from the vinyl days, I like starting my music like that, so.
We could easily overlook Pioneer's cue feature, but it can actually do quite a lot. It can auto cue the beginning of a track, which saves time in the mix. You can also set a cue point instantly with the loop in button. One cue or loop can be stored per track, permanently to memory. Simply hit memory once and the memory light goes on. And if you eject the disc and change your mind, it replays the from that point when popped back in.
I use them for acapellas, and so I can use, one words or one word stubs and stuff like that.
You can easily back up all this data onto a memory stick and take it around with you. You can even mask two CDJs with the same info. Another great feature is you can take that disc around a mate's house and play on their decks as if they were your own. For $449, what you get is pretty unrivaled. It offers a leading scratch performance, extensive software integration, and another funky first from the rhythmic looping. The BPM is a bit limited with no tap though, and no Mac or HFS support is a downside, and the lack of support for anything other than MPC is just shoddy. We also found that our iPod would occasionally hang, so it's not recommended for professional clubs. As a CD deck, the CDJ 400 is faultless. No matter what you mix with, the 400 can accommodate too, as long as you have the right formatted data. It has great effects to play with and will work as an integral part of almost any given bedroom setup. So if you want a player that will cover all bases for bedroom use, house parties and even small clubs, the CDJ 400 is really worth a look.
I thought we could have been loving more than lovers. I thought that we could have been sharing more than brothers.
So with all the new technology, I find DJing quite exciting at the moment because there's so many possibilities.